Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm DJ Sixsmith. Welcome to Sit Down. Time to talk with Jared Allen, one of the best to do it. Jared, what's up, man? How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing really well. Thanks so much for joining us. How is life as just a dad? I mean, I knew you was one of the most ferocious defenders for such a long time. How is life just hanging out with your daughters and doing your thing in Nashville?
It's the best. You know what? I think that's the most, the most challenging because it's the most responsibility. No, we try to have fun. I got great kids and great wife, and so yeah, they make it easy on me. But it's the best. That's the best job in the world. There's no greater satisfaction than watching your kids grow up and the accomplishments and all that good fun stuff.
So there is a lot of athletes who have a struggle with the transition from football into regular life. What has the process been like for you these last couple of years after your NFL career?
Oh, goodness. No, I've always been saying if you're not enough without football, you're probably never enough with it. So for me, football was always, obviously I loved it, but I knew it was a means to an end. I knew it wasn't going to last forever. So I tried to have my priorities straight, especially later in life. And, as you get older and get married and, try to be a solid Christian, that God's first and then my family. And, I tell people the further football fell down on my priority list, the better I got at it. For me, it wasn't a hard transition at all. I got surrounded myself with great people during my career who helped me set up for retirement, and just being able to hang out with my kids and be that next chapter of my life. And for me, I think I also had a very satisfying career. I was able to do things my way. Never had a bad taste in my mouth. Obviously, would have loved to win the Super Bowl, but one of the few players never get cut. Any trade I ever did was on my own terms. I never planned to play for 4 teams, but that's where the good Lord took me. And so, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I would have loved to have 150 sacks. I'd love to, maybe, win the Super Bowl. But, for me, it was, quality of life when I'm done. And at some point, you're just chasing, right? You're chasing something. You're chasing numbers, whether it's money. You're chasing numbers, whether it's stats. You're chasing numbers, whether it's winning games and trying to get to the Super Bowl. And you just don't know when that's going to happen. So you can't base your life around that. So for me, transition was easy. You know what? I played a great career. I got some great advice from Chris Carter too. He said, when you think you're done, play 2 more. So I was fully planning to retire after 10 years. I remember that advice. I played 2 more, blew my L5 out twice and said, I'm done.
Well, it's really amazing that you had the agency over your own career, because you said it. Most guys get traded when they don't want to get traded, get cut. And I think the beauty is that you're filled in other ways, and that goes with your faith, that goes with your charity work as well. I know you really care about Wounded Warriors and you have your foundation. What's it been like pouring into those people, and what is the biggest struggle in terms of their plight right now?
So yeah, so military's always been one of my greatest I have a soft spot for them, but I have the most respect for them, I think, because my grandfather served 23 years in the United States Marine Corps. My brother was in the Marine Corps. My uncles were all in the military, and so I come from a very long line of military veterans. And so I was on a goodness, I can't even remember the dang name of the USO. There we go. I couldn't remember the name of the organization. I was on there's 12 years of football for you. I was on a USO tour in 2009 and came back and just saw the sacrifice. And I had a buddy that was in the Army, and he told me about the gap in adaptive housing. So in 2009, I came back and dove into that and realized that our men and women, they come home, their needs aren't necessarily met. And so we started building homes for wounded vets all over the country. We give it to them free and clear when we're done. And it's been amazing. We've been, we just gave another home away about a month ago. We got, we're building actually a home out here in Nashville. We've done over 20 projects, and it's been amazing. And again, it's humbling. It's a constant humility of who really makes this country so great. And it's a constant reminder that, we have men and women that volunteer every day to go out and lay it on the line. And not everybody comes back, and not everybody comes back the same way they left. And I believe it's our duty. It's a patriotic duty as American citizens, as someone who enjoys those freedoms. And listen, I love being in America. I love having the right to gripe and complain about whatever we want. But I also understand that, it didn't come free. Someone paid the cost for it. And, so if this is the way I can serve my country by serving those who serve us, then, let's do it.
I think one of the great parts of your story is that you have all the stuff you've done off the field, and then all your different stops. You know, you were somebody that was always a fan favorite, and particularly Minnesota. I mean, you had so many great years with the Vikings. What stands out the most about your time in Minnesota?
Man, I think Minnesota for me, it's awesome. I truly believe God put me in certain spots with certain people at certain times, right? I never wanted to leave Kansas City. I mean, I love Kansas City. I had two of the greatest coaches, Dick Vermeil and Herm Edwards, as were my first two coaches in the NFL, right? I'm spoiled. But then, I got to meet children. I got to get the Minnesota organization, and it was at a time where, man, it took me to another level. You know what I mean? Like I was already, training right and doing that. And then I get into a locker room that was it was different. People like married with kids and very family, very tight. Coach Childress and I, are still great friends today. So, my times in Minnesota, the organization from top down, with Rick and Ziggy and Rob. I mean, I could just list them. I mean, I still am dear friends with these people today. So for me, Minnesota was a life-changing spot. It was a place of my life where I was in this growing up phase, this maturity phase as a man, and Minnesota was the right place at the right time, which then allowed me to excel in football. Kevin Williams, one of my dearest friends. Ben Lieber, guys like that were literally role models for me. Ryan Longwell, from a faith standpoint, like role models for me as a young man that was still single, and I ended up meeting my wife, not in Minnesota, but while I was part of the Vikings, I met my wife, and married, we have kids. So for me, that Minnesota holds that special spot in my heart, just because so many great life moments happen there. And take football aside, and I met so many great people that were influential in my life that it'll always be it'll always be special. I'll always be a Viking.
You really had some spectacular people on that team, and also some incredible talents. I mean, you had peak Adrian Peterson. You had the old gunslinger Brett Favre coming in there. How about playing with AP and Brett Favre? What are some of your favorite stories there?
Again, it's what's great. It's like when you have. I came in there. I was the NFL sack leader. All this expectation was on my shoulders. But when you come in and you're at this level in your career and you can still be inspired by others, it's amazing. Like I said, I mentioned Kevin and Pat Williams when I got there. They pushed me to never. Adrian I've never seen an athlete or a human being that can move, operate like that guy. I watched this dude eat 3 quarts of Cold Stone ice cream at 3% body fat and then run a 240. The dude is insane. Brett came in, and here this is an iconic, legendary, dude, Brett's a generational type player. And watch that guy, watch the work ethic he put in. Watch that guy be at the office till 10 o'clock at night. Watch him throw a backside slam without even looking. And he just commanded the locker room, and he had individual relationships with everybody. So yeah, I mean, it was amazing. And to be able to share those memories, those times, and be a part of that team, it was something special. It's something, you tell your grandkids about. And now I'm just the old guy that's like, oh, I know them. Like, all right, Dad. I'm telling you, let me text Brett right now.
How about everything going on with the Vikings now? I mean, it's been a little bit of a rough season. Kirk Cousins trying to figure things out. What needs to change for your old team?
You know what? I never like to be the guy playing, armchair quarterback, but I don't watch enough football these days to give a valid opinion. So obviously I check in with the Vikings because I like them, but they're struggling. It sucks. I feel bad for everybody over there. But I think probably the biggest thing is you got to find your identity again, right? Any team when you're struggling. I remember when times when we were struggling, you have to go back to what's your identity. And I think that's, obviously, Zim's reputation, precedes him from when he was with Cincinnati to what he accomplished in Minnesota and Rick. So I think that's probably the biggest thing. I think the Vikes probably need to go back to the core fundamentals and say, okay, what are we? We're gonna play smash mouth defense. I'm sure I think they got some guys injured, that kind of stuff too. But whenever things are going wrong, you go back to your fundamentals. That's just how I was always taught, and that's what I always believed. So my only advice to them: to go back to your fundamentals, from start to finish, and do the little things right, and let the bigger things fall where they will. But go back to your identity. If it's running the rock, run the rock. If it's playing good defense, play good defense. If it's airing it out 50 times a game, start airing it out 50 times a game. Whatever your identity is, stick to it and master it.
So you mentioned the fact that you played a little bit longer than you had anticipated. And as a result of that, you get the Carolina year. And that Panthers team was unbelievable. And it's hard to forget at this point, but Cam Newton was incredible. Your defense was top notch. What was that season like? And what was the best part of just being able to get to the Super Bowl?
It was so much fun. And, unfortunately, my last 2 years in Minnesota, we didn't win, and it was just rough. We had a lot of turnover, the drama. I think drama started in 2010. It just stuck with us until about 2013, Um, and so for me, going to Chicago, I was like, I just want to have fun. That's like the whole thing is I just wanted to have fun playing football again. And then, my first year in Chicago was like, wow, like, oh my goodness, trust me, that whole staff gets fired again. I'm just like, what is going on? And so when I got to Carolina, you know what? It was just fun. I mean, it was the right mix of young talent. Ron was amazing to like. I was just telling someone else about this. That Ron was so cool because Ron had full control of the team, but he knew how to let the players, do what they needed to do. And that I think that's rare in coach. Some coaches are just, fully dominant, full control. Others are full player control, which, and Ron had a great, he had a great balance of that. And we had fun. And I think, I tell people all the time, I was on two teams that probably would be considered two of the all-time greatest teams in the NFL if they would have won the Super Bowl. 2009 in Minnesota, if we win the Super Bowl, probably one of the greatest all-time teams. And 2015, if we win that game, I mean, that was so much fun. Like I said, Cam reminds me a lot of Brett with the energy he puts into the game of football and just exudes, so much energy and passion on the field. And that defense was lights out. I mean, we were just killing people. And again, having fun doing it, laughing, joking. So for me, even though we lost, I got what I wanted, which was to enjoy football my last year. And I tell people all the time, I said, it's a crazy thing how the good Lord works. I had the most success in my career when I had the least success as an individual. It was one of my worst, stat years, so to speak, as an individual in the NFL, yet I got to go to the Super Bowl. So, it's a funny thing how things go full circle.
Yeah, it's funny how it all shakes out. Well, Jared, really nice to meet you, man. Best of luck with everything going forward, and we'll talk to you down the road, all right?
Pleasure. Take care.